So there is a strike that is going on in the video game industry. It is the video game actors are going on strike. This is very kind of similar to I guess it's the Screen Actors Guild sort of thing.
Yes.
It's kind of reminiscent of the, what is this? A strike that happened in just
in the film industry.
In the film industry, yeah.
Well, there's been writer strikes, that we've heard about and things like that over the years. Back in 1994, I believe it was, the MLB players went on strike. Braves were going to win the World Series that year. Anyway, yeah, it's an actor strike, exactly, and apparently it's over a lack of AI protection, like in the contracts or in the fine print for some of these companies.
Right. The threat of AI, and they're not doing anything to try to make sure that these video game actors are going to be safe from having their jobs replaced or being used, like their image and their likenesses and their voices being used in AI so that they don't have to pay the actor.
Right. Which is very reasonable. To my little small redneck brain, this makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
That they would want this to be in writing.
I think so. I think it makes total sense to me. Now, I don't know if the situation is more complicated than what it seems, but on the surface, I think that AI is definitely a very, let me think of the way to put it. It is just the whole use of AI is kind of gray and a little bit morally ambiguous, period, when it comes to creative works, because it's trained on other data, but also it can be trained on these actors without their consent, potentially, and that's a big problem.
Right. We saw it with Randy Travis, who's near and dear to our hearts, and if he's not near and dear to yours, get on the internet and listen to Randy Travis. But there's an AI song, from Randy Travis, they ran it through a Randy Travis algorithm. Now, he okayed it.
Yeah, he gave it his consent.
He gave it his blessing, but... What's to say somebody couldn't do it without it?
Right, because if they own the rights to a character that you played,
and you're a voice actor,
right?
It's not like you're always using the same voice.
Right.
What's going to stop somebody from running a Troy Baker algorithm and generating a Joel-esque sound? And then how do you prove that that's what you did or that's what your intentions were? Like, how do you prove it? It's really murky. But there's a lot of companies that apparently this union has been in negotiations with for years now, since like October 2022.
Yeah, probably since the first big AI wave came around.
Probably, and these include Activision, Blind Light, Disney character voices, EA, Formosa Interactive, Insomniac, Epic, Take-Two Productions, VoiceWorks, and WB Games. There's some big names.
Some big names. Some
big
really
old names. Big old honking names.
Interestingly, Nintendo is not here in any way. Nintendo has actually said that they just straight up will not use AI at this point. They've said that they don't feel comfortable with it because they're not really sure of how it works morally, so they've decided just to not do it, period.
I have mixed feelings about that. On one hand, I think it's like, hell yeah, Nintendo, make games the old-fashioned way because I'm an old man now and I'm a little bit of a video game curmudgeon. And on the other hand, I'm like, there's probably some morally sound ways that you utilize this new technology, that because production times are long nowadays, And if there's some ways you could speed that up that don't out anybody a job or do anything a little shady, then I'm okay with that.
I still think that no matter what, until we work out what is and isn't okay, it's like we're still in the early phases, And until we work out what's okay, it's kind of like you can't really use it until it's been established. So this is okay and this isn't.
Yeah.
And
but
so
who makes that call?
I don't know.
Tim?
Tim. It's got to be Tim.
I don't think he's capable.
No.
Yeah, so this is obviously a crazy thing. It will probably, in my opinion, affect production times of some games.
We don't know how long this is going to last.
We don't know how long it's going to last. And that's crazy. We saw this similar kind of thing in the pandemic when people just couldn't get together and work and production times were slowed down. And eventually we got a crazy influx of these games that maybe would have come a little sooner. That maybe why 2023 was so amazing, some people might say. Is this going to have a similar effect? Because I don't really want it to. I would rather get games all the time.
Yeah. I don't know, but my thought is I wonder, should companies just pull a Nintendo and just swear off AI for a little bit, and just say, like, for the time being, we will not utilize AI. I think that personally, I would like to see that, because I think that,
Because you're a grandpa.
well, I think that AI, in the way that I've seen it so far, there may be some use cases like you mentioned where they can do it in a way that is maybe completely morally not ambiguous.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a really clean way to speed up the process, and it just, no one is against it. But from what I've seen in terms of like how it's being implemented, it can be implemented in ways maybe like to create character models, or maybe even to create animations. Like, there are lots of different things they can do, but they could also write stories. They can also use AI to create voice acting. There's so many things they can do. And to me, every way I can think of it, I think, well, it's trained on something.
Yeah.
And it's trained on someone's work. And until we're able to really suss out what is and isn't like theft from AI, I don't know that you should use it. On top of that, are you ever going to be able to create something that is truly of a unified voice and an artistic sort of just a piece of art, just in general,
Yeah.
if it is utilizing AI in any meaningful way? Maybe, but I'm not so sure.
Yeah. My principal at school recently spoke about AI, and I actually agreed with him. I don't always agree with him, but I agreed with him here.
Okay.
He basically said that he feels like AI is at a similar place to where the internet was back in the early 90s, right? When the internet came out, I'm sure there were a bunch of people who had been doing things the same way for a really long time, who were against it and were probably trying to keep it out of schools, among other things. I know this is a gaming podcast, but anyway, they're trying to keep it out of schools, right? Here we are. Where would we freaking be without the internet? Not here.
No. Yeah,
Right? So he kind of feels like we need to embrace it and learn how to use it, and that it should be allowed. And I agree, because I do think it's going to end up historically being a big technological development. I don't think anything will ever be as big as the internet.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be big. And so I wonder if we're I guess what I'm trying to say is, I don't know if it would be better to stop until we make a call, kind of like what you're saying, or if we just need to find the right way to do it. I don't know. It's definitely a hell of a tool, and production times are crazy. I was just talking about this last night with our friend Frankie about House of the Dragon, because it took 2 years between seasons. That's a long damn time.
That's a long time.
Apparently, they want to have 5 seasons of that show.
It's going to take over
We're
a
gonna watch
decade.
that. Yeah, we're gonna watch that thing for 10 or 12 years. WT hell,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm just kind of playing devil's advocate, but it's a really complex issue.
It is complex, but I think that the crux of it is we have to talk about who these models are trained after.
Yeah.
And these people who have spent their life dedicated to learning a creative craft. And if their stuff is being trained upon by these AIs and they aren't giving their consent, that to me feels icky. And I feel like, say you were in a situation where there's a new gaming podcast comes out and they have trained on me and you. Now, I don't know why you do that, but let's say they did, and there all of a sudden is an AI podcast that's based on me and you.
Yeah.
And let's say it's doing just as well, if not better than we are somehow.
Well, I will say, I think there's a lot of reasons why somebody would do something like that, and I think after we, fought them in a Walmart parking lot, we'd be flattered. I do. But no, I agree with you. This whole strike, I totally understand, I think. And I agree with the sentiment. And I agree. The way you just described it, yeah, that's not a morally sound way to use it. I wasn't playing the devil's advocate for that.
I want to be clear about that.
So, my question really is, how many video game industry strikes has there been?
I don't know. It seems like
Because
it's been quite a while.
They say 3 strikes and you're out. So
That is what they say.
And I've been waiting this whole topic to work that joke in. So I hope you enjoyed it.
I'm glad you did that. I think that is a good way to end this topic, and we can move on to the next one.
Which is a little bit of a transitionary topic.
Yeah, it is, because one of the things that has come out of this is that GTA 6 is not affected by this strike. The workers can continue to work on GTA 6.
Right. GTA 6 has immunity. Nobody knows how. Nobody knows why. Nobody knows who. And nobody knows when.
I really don't know. I read all kinds of articles saying that the workers could continue. I never read why.
I didn't either. So
Sometimes we're lacking context.